everyone, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made or how to make a fruit in watercolor. So I have my sketchbook here, or my watercolor paper, and I'm just going to hold it down with these clips so it doesn't move while I paint. These are big clips you can buy, and it's really helpful with your sketch when you have a watercolor paper like in a notebook like this. So I have my water and my White Nights paints, watercolor paints. So these are my White Nights, and I'm also going to be using liquid watercolors, which these are from Let's Make Art. I really like to use both for this projects like this, since the liquid watercolors are pigmented and liquid, and the other ones are thicker and more pigmented to add details. And also I'm using this palette, mixing palette, as well as a paper towel. So I'm gonna start by sketching. I'm drawing the papaya first, as well as an orange. These are rough sketches. Making some blueberries, kiwis, and passion fruit, I believe. So just make some rough sketches of what fruit you want, and then just fix everything until you like it. I'm rounding here the orange and adding some details. And then I'm also going to be using a pencil eraser, which is really good for little details, erasing little stuff. I'm also making this lighter. I don't know where my kneadable eraser went, but you can just use a regular one. These are the ones I'm using, and I will list the colors on the screen. I'm using emerald green, tiger orange, and sepia for the first fruit, which is the papaya. So I'm just going to add a little bit on my paint palette. So for this, I will just start with a little drop, and then I will add when I need more. Okay, so I'm gonna take a brush. This is round 12, and I'm just going to take some water and start by wetting the surface. That's gonna be color orange. So take some water and make sure it looks shiny but not a puddle. So now I'm going to take my tiger orange and I'm going to mix it with a few different reds and oranges. I'm mixing it with some Indian yellow, as well as some Vietnam red, I believe. Those two colors are from White Nights. And I'm just going in with some tiger orange and some Vietnam red to give it some more shadows and shape. So I let it dry, and I'm going with my Vietnam red. I believe that's the name. Or Venice. Well, anyways, I will be leaving the numbers for the paints as well. So I added this red to give it some more make it more interesting. And then I'm taking my liquid sepia and then also my darker sepia from White Nights, and I'm making the seeds. So here you can just dab on the paper to make it darker, lighter, and make the shape of the seeds. I don't really it's not really that hard. And then I'm taking my emerald green and I am making the outside of this fruit. Also, I'm adding my green from White Nights to make it darker in some areas. Okay, so now for the next project, I'm making blueberries. So I'm going to be using berry blue, space blue, and azure blue to add different colors into my painting. Okay, so I'm just wetting the surface right here and going in with the 3 shades of blue and just kind of mixing it all together and making a color or different shades. And then I'm taking my green, both of my greens, and making the leaf. And then I'm also taking some indigo and I'm going to add some details. Okay, so I let it dry a little and I added some more indigo, and now I'm going on with my passion fruit. So for this one, I'm going to use, the center is white, but I'm going to add some Payne's Gray to add some shadows. So I'm doing a very light mix of Payne's Gray with lots of water. Then I'm going to blend it all together like that. I'm not adding my seeds yet, so I'm just going to go with magenta and just kind of go on the outside. And also I'm going to take some of the green, the emerald green, and the White Nights green, and just going to add some green on the tips, as well as some quinacridone rose to add some a little bit darker on the pink area. So then I'm just going to take my micron pen and I'm going to make little dots. This is size 05 and that works very well for the seeds. So next I'm moving on to my kiwi. I am using the emerald green again and mixing some sepia in to make it a little bit darker. So just adding some details and before letting it dry, and I'm gonna let it dry and work on the orange. So I'm just going to mix a few oranges until I get the color I want, and I'm going to leave some areas in white, so not completely fill it in, because if you've ever looked at an orange, it has these little tiny areas where there's more light, where the light reflects on it. So that's what we're doing, and then I'm just going to fill it in and make it look like an actual orange. I'm taking some ruby red and some Venice red, and I'm going to go on the edge and then blend it a little bit to go on the inside. Okay, so I left it to dry, and then I'm going to come back and add some details. So I'm taking my white nights green, and I'm making the outer area inside the circle, make it darker green, and then I'm adding some other details inside, and then some brown, and I'm going on the edge of my kiwi. And then I'm going with some dark red, Venice red, and I'm going to add some details on my orange. Some lines to make it more interesting, as well as on the peel. And then I'm going to go in with some pink or red for my strawberry. Not filling it in completely to make some light areas, and then making my foliage with various shades of green. Making the seeds, this is not a very elaborate, as you can see, it's not very elaborate, the whole painting. So also I'm taking a Posca pen and going on the middles where it should be white. And I'm going to make some light areas on all the fruits. And then I'm just going to take a yellow Posca pen, and I'm going to add some details as well. For this one, it took a while. It was brand new, but I'm adding some details. And also with my black Posca pen, I'm going to make some seeds for the kiwi. I let it dry and I kind of fixed it because it's blended with the white marker from before. It wasn't completely dry. Now I'm making the color notes. So for this, I'm just taking most of the colors I've used, all the colors I can remember, and I'm just going to paint it and label the name of the color. So if you're enjoying this video so far, please like and subscribe and leave a like, as well as follow me on Instagram so you don't miss anything I post. So yeah, back to the video. I'm almost done with this, and I'm just going to add my signature, and we're done. Thank you for watching. Bye.